Man, it's been a minute since we've seen a Mugen video, but Nintendo did an oopsie. And it wasn't on oopsie. They did it on purpose, bro. I swear, the gaming industry keeps changing, and for some reason, it's not for the better. So Nintendo has already been one of the first people to market their games as $80. Not only that, they're trying to copyright and monopolize an idea of a game genre. Now, I'm not a big fan of this because I like video games and I want more and more unique video games to be created. Nintendo is not the first person to add gliding to an open world, bro. They're not the first one to come up with this concept. So one, they don't even get to monopolize that. It doesn't make sense, bro. It's just pure greed because they're very popular. That's it. They have a lot of fans, they have a lot of money. Now they think they could just throw it around and do whatever they want. Now, if you're actually somebody that thinks for themselves, well, please leave a comment down below about what you think about this and give it your own unique opinion. I love to read it. So let's go ahead and check out this Mujin video. Nintendo is attempting to legally monopolize a game genre. Let's go.
I think that we can all agree by now, Nintendo as a company has a complete chokehold on so many of our childhoods. From their versatile consoles to their abundance of very high quality
007,
games,
oh
it comes
man.
as no surprise that they were and still are one of the biggest companies on the planet. But other than having
out of all these games, bro, Smash 64, banger. GoldenEye, banger. Which one is this? Ocarina of Time? Bro, I swear people say that this is the greatest Legend of Zelda game ever made. If you're saying that, you're only saying that because this is the first Zelda game you played, bro. Because Twilight Princess is the greatest Zelda game ever made. And it also was my first. Let's go.
a monopoly on our childhoods, they also happen to be known for something else. Their unparalleled pettiness when it comes to legal matters. Suing companies and more often individuals for things that other companies couldn't care less about.
They've done this 84 times. They collected 9 coins, relocked 39 times, invited lawyers 36 times. Bro, what?
Companies
what
and
are
more
these
often
stats?
individuals for things that other companies couldn't care less about.
Damn.
Going as far as suing a random supermarket in Costa Rica just because it's called Super Mario.
I ain't gonna lie, nah. Homie was asking for this one, bro.
And more recently, on October 2025, going after a Reddit mod because he private messaged some people a link to pirate Nintendo games.
Damn.
He's currently being sued for over $4.5 million, and
Yo, bro, that can't even hold up.
Nintendo says the amount is reasonable and it could have been way higher.
What? Absolutely not, bro. Their ego is super inflated. They are super, bro. They got their fans gassing them up if they think that's the case, bro. He probably got maybe a couple 10, 20 people to play Pokemon Emerald or whatever the modded game was before they took that down. Bro, it's not worth $4.5 million. Do they understand how much $4.5 million actually is? I think because they're so rich, they don't understand what $4.5 million is. Like, to me and you, if I give you $10,000, would you be happy, yes or no? You'd probably be really freaking happy if I did that. But if I gave $10,000 to Jay-Z, he'd probably throw it in my face and say, get this chump change out of here. You see, there's a difference in this world, and they're all the way up here, bro. They don't know what it's like to be me and you. So if you're like talking to them like they're your savior, bro, these people do not care about you. I'll be the first to let you know. If you didn't know, bro, you are part of the product. They don't care about you whatsoever, bro. You could be their #1 fan, and they still won't give a damn. And that's the sad part, because the fans are the ones that support it, bro. You guys are the ones giving them power. So take that shit away, bro. They don't deserve it. Give it to some other company. Give it to some other culture. Give it to yourself. Fuck it. Like, stop buying their games and go to the gym. There it is. Boom.
You really can't make this up. But other than these comical lawsuits, Nintendo just happens to be in one that is existential to the entire gaming industry. On January 2024, the extremely successful indie game by the name of Palworld would come out.
One of the greatest games ever made.
That it was heavily inspired by Pokemon, but it didn't infringe on any of its copyrights. Nintendo was so salty that someone would even attempt to make money off of something that looks similar to one of its franchises,
jealous,
that
bro.
it went ahead and sued them in any way they can. Instead of doing copyright lawsuits, they would go with one about patents. From the start, they had the intention of playing this dirty. And
basically, a patent is an idea. So if you yourself come up with an idea of something that does not exist within the three-dimensional world that we live in, you can say, this was my idea, and nobody else can steal this idea, because there is such thing as you having your own original thoughts. You have your ability to create something that nobody else can create because it comes from specifically you. So yes, companies, they get a patent if they have a great idea, but the technology doesn't exist yet. So like, say I want to have an idea of a time traveling wheelchair. Like, nobody has that, but one day that could be a thing. Well, since I said it, I can get it patented. And then if it ever comes to life, that was my idea, bro. You stole it. Boom, right here. 2025. KhunShawn had the idea of the time travel wheelchair. Put it in the comment section. Make sure people don't forget.
Recently, in the summer of 2025, they would somehow get a patent approved in the US that would forbid others from making games in which they have a pet fight another pet with something similar to a Pokeball. Something that's been done before by other games countless times and shouldn't be classified as inventive enough to be a patent.
That's what I'm saying.
The gaming community was in complete shock. This is truly existential, because if they win, this will set a precedent in which any company can just somehow get a patent approved in order to destroy any of their competition, especially if they're a smaller developer.
Bro, like, literally, they have a lot of money. They could literally just pay people to give ideas in general and patent every single idea of everything ever. And then nobody could ever make a single thing within video games, because every single innovative idea has already been patented by somebody else. I had that idea, by the way, so I'm patenting it. So nobody else can ever come up with an idea that steals other ideas because I patented it. Does it make sense? I hope not, because if it did, damn.
The situation is obviously way more complex than this, so that's why I figured I'd have to make a video about it. At the same time, we got a very unexpected revelation thanks to a very unexpected event.
Homeland Security,
Nintendo's biggest weakness that might just stop them from pursuing this lawsuit further.
What happened?
So you already know the drill by now. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
If you
strap in, bro. Put your wheelchair. Put your wheelchair on. Put your seatbelt on. Let's go.
Whether there's a good game to play that just so happens to be an MMO, they'll probably laugh at your face before saying, "Buddy, it's a dead genre." And honestly, they're not wrong. But that's simply because they haven't considered the possibility of an anime MMO coming up soon that's very ambitious.
Wait, like the anime GTA game we talked about? Check it out. That was a crazy ass video. They literally have every idea ever in that game, and I feel like it's copyright to have that game, but at the same time it deserves to exist.
Blue Protocol Star Resonance is a free-to-play
let's go Blue Protocol
MMORPG that has classic MMO
elements. This is an ad?
You can party up with your friends, encounter dangerous monsters in both dungeons and raids, and of course you can farm for materials.
Wait, you can do all this in co-op? Every single part of this is co-op? Like, even the story mode?
Encounter dangerous monsters in both dungeons and raids.
Oh, that's
and of course, you can farm for materials.
I like
Certain
that.
things, though, make it kind of special, like how there are multiple classes and you can swap between them
like
anytime. And
why they talk like that? Why they talk like this when they move their mouth? They move in that talking like this.
Other than the fact that there are dungeons and raids with so many different enemies, this game places a lot of importance on immersion and player interaction, like being able to dance in a town's fair or setting off fireworks at night with your friends.
Immersion, let me hear it.
That's pretty cool. My favorite part is the very in-depth.
Oh, okay. That pose was kind of crazy. Look at that. Bro, that's the Ash Ketchum, bro.
It's pretty cool.
That's the Sasuke Uchiha, bro. That was the Rock Lee. Now this the Mike guy.
My favorite part is the very in-depth character customization.
It's Kirito!
Make your character stand out in this game.
It's Kirito!
That's awesome. And the best part? This game's available now. You'll find the download link as well as limited time codes and launch rewards in the description and pinned comment. So make sure to check it out.
Where?
Thanks to Residents for sponsoring this video.
Oh my gosh!
So to truly understand
we'll check it out later.
Of the situation, we have to go back to the basics. What the hell is a patent anyway? Many people would probably define it as a piece of paper that gives you, the inventor, full exclusive rights to make whatever you invented. In reality, though, it's more like a weapon. And all we have to do to truly understand it is look at this example of a patent and seeing how the United States defines it themselves. It says, grants to the persons having title to this patent the right to exclude others from making, using, offering for sale, or selling the invention throughout the United States of America. So this isn't about you having the right to make something.
This is a US patent.
This is you having the right to stop others.
What's a Japanese patent?
from making something that you invented. Whether you actually choose to pursue people stealing or using your invention, though, is completely up to you. And in the US in particular, you would have this right for 20 years. But why does this even exist? Well, during the 18th century, humanity witnessed the Industrial Revolution.
Ideas were coming out left and right.
With the insane amount of new inventions created every single day.
Literally.
Countries loved these new inventions because they kept them competitive and increased their productivity output. So how is it that you encourage brilliant minds to make new inventions? Well, you give them incentive. And that's exactly why something like the United States Patent and Trademark Office exists. Why would you take years, sometimes decades, to come up with a revolutionary invention that a bigger corporation can just steal from you and take advantage of while you rot in a corner? Instead, you can patent this invention, actually directly profit from it, or if you're too lazy, just license it out to bigger companies so that they can use it instead. You'll still get credit for the invention and a whole lot of money in either percentages or royalties or whatever you come up with in the contract.
Make sure you guys get royalties. If anybody ever does anything, this is free advice. If they say, do you want more money up front or do you want more percentage of your royalties? You always go with the royalties. Let's go. Economics 101.
Overall, patents were definitely a good-intentioned invention. The problem was, though, no matter how well-intentioned you might be, when it comes to laws and bureaucracy, it always ended up looking like the fresh launch of a very fun multiplayer game. Initially, it would be a blast until certain players would start to cheese game mechanics to gain the upper hand no matter what.
Sure.
And when it came to patents, unfortunately, it was no different. It didn't take long for certain bad actors to understand that this patent system had loopholes. And when they did, they aimed to take full advantage. A patent troll is actually a real term used in legal circles. In a nutshell, it's a company that literally does nothing, that somehow acquires some patents through some different means, and then proceeds to generate its income by suing other companies claiming that they're infringing on their patents.
Damn, I literally just had this idea, but somebody already beat me to it. Damn!
When it comes to their businesses. And one of the best examples of
a patent troll is a company
that terrorized some of the biggest American tech companies in the world back in the early 2010s. Their name was Lotsys LLC, and they didn't even have a logo. You see, this shell company that literally contributed nothing to society would somehow, through different means, acquire...
If you guys want to know how to really make money, a shell company. Basically, you get a company that's not real, and whatever you're doing, you funnel it through that company. So basically, if you go to GameStop and you walk in there and instead of having video games, they only have DVDs, well, it's not really a GameStop, but that's not the point of the shop.
Are 4 different US patents that were close to expiry. And what made these patents special is that they were all tech-based, but were also extremely vague. And they'd use this vagueness to their advantage, claiming that, for example, because their patent 078 mentioned the transfer of some sort of data from the customer when they're on the website of the vendor, then any company using any sort of chat box on their website owes them money. Yes, it was stupid, but it somehow worked. They managed to sue so many different companies. With the 2 biggest and most
They sued Google and Apple.
Apple and Google.
They won, and they won against Apple and Google. They won? I'm in the wrong line of business. I need to just start suing people and making shit up.
Lotsys would send out the lawsuit, and these 2 multi-billion-dollar companies would settle, making a deal with them to acquire their patent through a license, either through a percentage-based revenue share or through a lump sum cash payment.
Bro, they found a IRL money glitch. That is an IRL money glitch in the game, bro. Bro, you over here working 9 to 5, bro. We need to start glitching out the matrix, bro. They literally got them to settle. That's crazy. Basically, they say, hey, I'm suing you for this bullshit idea I came up with. I'm suing you for $4 million. And Apple, they say, bro, we not trying to deal with this bullshit. Let's just give them $200,000. And they get $200,000. Hey, that sounds good to me.
Now, at this point, it's understandable for you to be confused. I mean, how the hell does such an obvious shell company with such vague patents successfully manage to extort money out of such big companies?
Because the law, bro.
There's no pushback. How come they don't even go to trial?
Because it's a waste of time.
Very interesting. According to the study by the Stanford Law School in 2004, only 0.1% of all patents are litigated to trial.
Damn.
Yeah, that's right. It means that 99.9% of all patents either never have any issues or simply solve things before actually going to trial through settlements.
Yeah,
and just in case there's any
get it
confusion,
out the way, bro.
The trial stage of things is what you see in movies.
That's too long.
It's when both sides go through the very lengthy process of presenting their case to a judge.
Bro, some trials take months, literally. They will go back and forth inside the same room for months over something that sometimes 9 times out of 10 is just a misunderstanding, and other times it's like a cover-up.
Another interesting thing that came out of the study is that nearly half of fully litigated patents are declared invalid. This distinction is critical to understanding the economic impact of patents. This means that out of the 0.1% of all patents that actually do go to trial,
they're not good enough.
Of a chance that these patents are declared invalid. They should have never been patents in the first place. This is why when patents...
Bro, that's what the crazy part is, bro. These shits aren't real, bro. You just come up with some bullshit and then you say it was my idea and then you get money. That's it.
Are discussed from an economic and practical standpoint. They're seen as a right to try to exclude by asserting the patent in court. This means that just because you're given a patent, it doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to work in court.
Of course.
So if that's the case, why didn't Apple and Google, multi-billion-dollar companies,
it's a waste of time.
Pursue Lotsis? Why didn't they go to trial instead of giving them lumps of money?
It's a waste of time.
Even more complicated. These companies already have a huge horde of corporate lawyers. The problem, though, is that corporate lawyers are seen more like general physicians. You can go to a general physician if you have a cold or something else that's mild.
Man.
But if there's something wrong with your brain,
you need to go to a neuroscientist,
in that area,
bro.
like a brain surgeon. There will be way less available, and they will cost a fortune more. That's the exact same case with patent attorneys. You could sell both your kidneys on a Friday night, and by next Friday, they're already packing their bags going to the next client because you already ran out of money. You'll be bleeding.
It's a waste of time, bro. Time and money.
Tens of millions of dollars. You'll be losing employee productivity since they work hand in hand with patent attorneys so that they understand the product being sued specifically. And seeing that patent-related trials last an average of 4 years, for 99.9% of the time, it's simply not worth it. This is why it doesn't matter if you're a billion-dollar company or a trillion-dollar company.
It's not worth it,
unless
bro.
the patent being infringed is existential or you're 100% sure that you can win. It's better to just give the money that this dumb shell company's asking for and just moving on.
Exactly.
But you want to know what's interesting? In May of 2012, Lotsis would sue 55 companies on US soil. 54 of them would of course settle, but only one company decided to go to trial because they just couldn't stand them anymore. And that was the Russian cybersecurity company Kaspersky.
When I hear Russian cybersecurity or Russian backroom.net, I already know it's some crazy shit going on.
Look, they, much like every other company being sued by Lotsis, understood very well that they were bluffing. But unlike every other company, they were willing to put millions of dollars at stake just because they didn't want Lotsis to receive a single dollar.
And I respect that a lot.
And so after a year and a half, dollars down the drain, with a lot of company resources at stake, Kaspersky was able to dismiss the lawsuit with prejudice. And Lotsis had to pay back all the attorney's fees, expenses, and costs that Kaspersky had spent, which meant that essentially this shell company was about to be deleted off the face of the earth. And it was. By 2014, all of its patents had expired, and this shell company simply closed down. Kaspersky had essentially done a huge favor to anyone working in the tech industry, and companies could finally carry on without being constantly harassed.
It only took them a year and a lot of money, but hey, they won in the end. Let's go, sticking it to the trolls.
But as we've already established,
you know, it's interesting because the trolls stick it to the man, right? They just stuck it to Google and Apple. Google and Apple do a lot of fuck shit. All right, I'll keep it simple. They do a lot of stuff that your boy KhunShawn, I don't respect. That being said, these trolls, bro, they're annoying too, bro. They're coming up with just BS ideas all the time and reaping the rewards and benefits. But also, sometimes you're trolling the wrong people. Hey, man, not two lefts don't make a right. There it is.
This was a small
shout out to Lil Wayne
shell company specifically designed to extort companies with vague expiring patents. But the question that everyone was too frightened to ask was, what if a company with significantly more resources and one of the most aggressive teams of lawyers ever seen ended up using that same patent troll strategy?
Oh,
well, it would
brother.
take over a decade, but we would finally and unfortunately get an answer to that question. And all it took for it to happen was an extremely successful indie game. Game Freak is a Japanese game development studio and one of the 3 owners of Pokemon, alongside Nintendo and Pocket Monster.
Real quick question for everybody still watching. Shout out to you. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you're new. Do you believe that Pokemon would still exist if they say would have added guns to it back in, let's be genuine, let's say like back in the Wii era, like the Wii Pokemon games when they started doing like the 3D and stuff like that? What if they added guns? Do you think they'd still be alive? Do you think they would have been rejuvenated because they added guns? I'm interested to know, because to be honest, my personal opinion, Pokemon has not been good since on Nintendo 64. And I'm biased. I'll be the first to let you know.
Pokemon games are extremely popular and sell like hotcakes. They also happen to be always developed by Game Freak. But here's the thing, over the many years of Game Freak releasing Pokemon games, many fans have been getting frustrated over the lack of innovation and this feeling of complete laziness and disinterest. It seemed like Pokemon games had limitless potential with endless possibilities of making different genres and mechanics.
They could have, but they don't.
Game Freak just took
the boring route
every single time, and why wouldn't they? I mean, they sold
still making many
copies. At this point, it was a money printer. This is why many of these frustrated fans would find immense excitement when Palworld, a game developed by Pocket Pair, a Japanese indie developer, would be announced to the world for the first time during Tokyo Game Show. Just like in Pokemon, you would collect these cute creatures called pals. There would be everything a Pokemon fan would want, like evolutions, new mechanics, and a bunch of creative things. But instead of it purely being oriented towards children, there was a twist.
Damn, he kicked the hell out of him.
Rocket launchers, and overall, a bit more of an adult take on something that many people have grown to enjoy. But
so like, if Palworld did all this without the guns, or if Nintendo did Palworld without the guns, I feel like that'd be immensely successful. Oh, by the way, there's an earthquake right now. I'm in the middle of one. The ground is shaking. The walls are shaking. Aftershocks. We are in the Philippines. Let's continue.
Look, everyone understood fairly quickly, this game was heavily inspired by Pokemon, okay? I mean, one of the top comments on this trailer was, this is it. This is Pokemon Gun. But you know what? There's nothing weird about that. Gaming has always been about copying things that are successful and making them in your own way. H1Z1 pioneered Battle Royale games and did that after being inspired by community mods in the game Arma 3. And this chain would continue until we get to a game like Fortnite, making a Battle Royale game in their own way while clearly being inspired by their predecessors. This is what gaming has always been about, and at this point, it came to be expected. What no one was expecting, though, including Palworld's own developers, was the massive success they'd receive overnight on the game's release. The game would release in early access on the 19th of January 2024, and within just 8 hours, they would sell over 1 million copies.
I knew Palworld was popular. I didn't know it was that popular.
For an indie game, that is mind-blowing, but they were only getting started.
Phenomenal.
In under 2 weeks, they would sell over 12 million copies on Steam alone. Bear in mind, this game was also on consoles. And within barely a week of release...
Palworld was on console? What console was it on? Because I missed out. It was on PlayStation? Let me know.
They would have over 2.1 million concurrent players on Steam, beating all sorts of records and being in the top 5 most played games on the entire platform. At this point, it was extremely hard to ignore this game's success. Everyone in the gaming industry knew of its existence, and it became an incredible success story. But, of course, you already know the drill by now. When something finds such immense success, you start to attract a huge amount of people scrutinizing what you've made. And sometimes, those people don't always have the best of intentions. It wouldn't take long for people to start making very direct comparisons of some of the pals in Palworld versus...
Hey, man. Hey, y'all kind of reaching on that Snorlax, bro. This is... Look, bro, Snorlax ain't the only creature in this world to have some... Bro, even like several Pokemon have this. Nah, that's a reach, bro. This thing looks like maybe 20% Snorlax, bro. That's only in the face. Bro, no, I don't. I think that's some BS. This one, bro, only in the face. Literally, that's it, bro. You should have picked Skitty, bro. This looked more like Skitty than whatever the heck this is. What is that? Meowth with yellow eyes and brown fur? What is that?
Pokemons. I mean, look, everyone understood that.
Slow, bro. In the face, like, bro, that's it. The face. Okay, now this. Okay, you can get. Okay, for sure. Yeah, now this one is like maybe like 30% because the rest of this shit look different. Okay, like no, this is unique. Because this is based the way this works. Because people are gonna say, "Oh, it's a copy paste." No, it's not, bro. So it takes more people to be able to look at this and say, "Does it look different enough?" I, for one, will say this definitely. They look like cousins for sure. This could be like, I don't know, an evolution of a great grand something. Because how do you go from an Arctic bird to a woolly whatever this is? Like, no, these things aren't even anatomically the same thing, bro.
By Pokemon, but these comparisons would blow up beyond proportion to the point where something unprecedented would take place. The Pokemon Company International would personally make a statement, something that you see extremely rarely, in which they would very obviously indirectly call out Palworld personally, saying inquiries regarding other companies' games. We have received many inquiries regarding another company's game released in January 2024. I mean, come on, that's literally Palworld. We have not granted any permission for the use of Pokemon intellectual property or assets in that game. We intend to investigate and take appropriate measures to address any acts that infringe on intellectual property rights related to Pokemon. We will continue to cherish and nurture each and every Pokemon in its world and work to bring the world together through Pokemon in the future.
Boo!
Signed, the Pokemon Company.
Boo! So I'll diagnose this and look at this. We've received many inquiries. Yeah, sure. I bet there was a lot of people talking about this all over the internet. Intellectual property rights related to Pokemon. Yeah, not much of that actually related to you. You're not the first one to have animals go around and beat each other up. We will continue to cherish and nurture each and every Pokemon. They're saying this to make the people that are already in the genjutsu of Pokemon, the people that love Pokemon so much, they love it more than anything else. Shout out to those people, because those people are actually pretty cool. That being said, they're saying that to try and pull on your emotion strings. They're trying to emotionally manipulate you to say, oh, you know, we're doing this out of the love and kindness for you guys, the fans, right? We're gonna go sue this company because they might take you guys away from us, and we don't want you to go. We love you guys so much, and we cherish and care about Pokemon. For the future and for the sake of Pokemon, we're gonna get rid of this guy. Okay? We're gonna get rid of him, make sure he never existed ever again. We're gonna sue the balls off, and we're gonna take all his money. That's them. That's the CEOs of Pokemon. Don't fall for that bullshit. Let's continue.
Now look, the reason why the statement was so significant was because the Pokemon Company never spoke personally about such things. And I mean, why would they? Yeah, they're owned by 3 different companies, but Nintendo, even though owning just 1/3, actually owns all the copyrights involved with anything related to Pokemon. This is why they typically do the suing for them. And so it was official. After this very rare statement from the Pokemon Company International, it was clear Palworld had a huge target on its back, and Nintendo was aiming to take full advantage. They were very salty about seeing a game take so much inspiration from Pokemon and...
Bro, so much inspiration puts up... Bro, I swear, y'all should have put Skitty up there because that looks more like Skitty than whatever the heck this weird Meowth thing is, bro. Or put both of them together because it can be both. It could literally be Skitty and whatever the heck this is. And if you showed me both, I would say, yeah, that looks about like 80% of that. I could see that. But even that's a combination of 2 things. Just because you have 2 things and somebody combine it, that doesn't mean it's automatically yours. Because you didn't create that. Somebody else created from your stuff. And guess what? That's called sharing. That's called being part of humanity. There's no point in time as one human has never taught another human how to do anything. You've always learned something from somebody else or from the environment if you don't live around society. So why the heck are you trying to say, oh, money? Oh, yeah, greed. Yeah, the love of money is the root of all evil. I read that in a book somewhere.
being so extremely successful. And on January 25th, 2024, barely a couple of weeks after Palworld had come out, and on the same day the Pokemon Company International would make its very rare statement, Nintendo would formally announce that they would begin an investigation into Palworld and its assets. But what does investigation mean? I mean, they didn't really infringe directly on anything Pokemon related. People were hoping that this would die down, that it just proves to be some sort of misunderstanding. What they could have never
misunderstanding? You have a $1 billion company talking about they're gonna pursue action, and you think it's a misunderstanding? Ladies and gentlemen, misunderstandings at that level require a lot of money. I don't think so.
Predicted beyond their wildest dreams, though, was that a company like Nintendo was about to take direct inspiration from shell companies such as Lotsis. Almost 9
well then I feel like there should be a patent against that. There should be a patent so people can't get inspired by the patent trolls and copy them, because that's an idea, and I don't want them to have that idea, because well, that sounds like a bad idea. So let me come up with the idea and claim it and then sue Nintendo, because they're stealing my patented idea of becoming a patent thief and patenting everything and making sure other people can't get stuff because we're greedy. We're all greedy. So I made the patent because I'm greedy, and they copied the patent because they're also greedy. We're all greedy, by the way. Your Honor, we're all greedy. I'm just letting them know.
After the Pokemon Company International would announce that they're taking steps to investigate Palworld, on September 19th, 2024, Nintendo would announce that they're officially filing a lawsuit for infringement of patent rights against Pocket Pair, the developer of Palworld. The statement, however, didn't specify any of the patents that they're actually suing Palworld over, and on the same day, Pocket Pair would also make a statement saying that, hey, we're aware of the lawsuit, we've began the legal proceedings and investigations, but we're literally unaware of the specific patents we're being accused of infringing upon, and we have not been notified of such details.
They're suing us, but they're not telling us why. I don't know.
In other words, Pocket Pair was as clueless as we are about what they were exactly doing that was illegal here. It would only be almost a month later, on November 8th, 2024, that Pocket Pair would finally understand what the patents they were infringing upon allegedly were.
What did we do?
This is when the entire gaming community as a whole would be completely baffled.
That's when we all went like this.
Patents in the lawsuit were all filed and approved after Palworld had released. That's right, Nintendo was suing Palworld for patent infringement on patents that they had presented to Japan after Palworld had released.
Oh, damn. So they're saying they stole our idea before we came up with it. Why didn't I think of that? Oh!
Now you're probably
what kind of fourth dimensional chess is that bullshit?
Is that even possible? Well, we'll get to that. But for now, let's take a look at these patents. Well, first things first, just in case this wasn't obvious, Nintendo was suing Pocket Pair in Japan since they were both Japanese developers. Hence why we're discussing Japanese patents.
Good idea.
2 out of the 3 of these patents involve you using a Pokeball. In Pokemon games, you use a Pokeball to either capture a creature or summon a creature. In Palworld, there are no Pokeballs, but there are Pal Spheres. Yes, of course, they're a direct...
You should have made them cubes.
...inspiration of Pokeballs, but this mechanic wasn't patented at the time. The third patent was about flying your pals in the air. But this one was very specific. It was about how when you would fall in Palworld, you could summon your pal to pick you up mid-air. And of course, just like the other 2 patents, Nintendo had patented this in 2024 after Palworld had released. So how the hell is this even possible? Well, it's simple. That's because these 3 patents were filed as divisional patents. What the hell is a divisional patent? Well, here's a
we just coming up with shit. I swear we are.
Rocket ship. Let's say you're SpaceX. You want to patent this rocket ship. Great. You make a general patent that pretty much covers this entire rocket ship, every component. But you don't delve too much into details. Now, let's say you filed that patent in 2020. A few years pass by and you finalize the design of the rocket boosters. You're happy with it and you're ready to patent that too. This is when you would create a divisional patent. It would be its own patent, sure, but it would fall under the general patent of the rocket ship. So even though you would be filing this, let's say 3 years later in 2023, it would still be a part of the general patent from 2020 that covered generally the entire rocket ship.
That is some grade A bullshit. Basically, they created the idea of the rocket. There's a lot of stuff that goes into a rocket. But let's just say we have the whole rocket. We have the whole piece. But maybe we come up with another piece later because maybe the original one, maybe there was a mistake and now we have to correct it. And now you take that correction and it's automatically added to the old shit like it was new stuff. Bro, that sounds broken, bro. That sounds like you create a game and it's buggy and then you patch it to fix it later. And then everybody's like, wow, such a great game. It didn't launch that way. I remember that shit. Payday 3, day 1, didn't work. I got early access, couldn't play the game online only, by the way. If you have an only online game, guess what? You don't own it. If you don't own games, then piracy is not illegal. Let's continue.
Now, in this context, of course, it makes total sense. But when it comes to software, patents get very tricky. And Nintendo knows this. This is why they're taking full advantage. The original and more general parent patent was filed in 2021 by Nintendo. It had to do with the many generalized game mechanics involving the game Pokemon Violet and Scarlet. These 3 divisional patents that were filed in 2024 aimed to complete the more generalized parent patent from 2021. So yeah, you see where this is going, right?
Some
Nintendo
bullshit.
was playing dirty, and they had no intention of backing down.
Of course
but
not.
Unlike
Why would they?
Losses, who was a shell company just looking to get quick money from big companies, Nintendo wasn't in this for the money. Come on. Yes, technically speaking, the injunction filed against Palworld wanted 5 million yen plus late payment damages to both the Pokemon Company and Nintendo. And yes, since Palworld had released, they almost made $500 million in gross revenue, but more specifically, 139 million in net revenue after fees and taxes.
Oh, Nintendo paid their taxes? I wonder who the real bad guy is.
But for Nintendo, the money was nothing more than a formality. They genuinely didn't care how much money they got from this lawsuit.
Damn!
And we're literally talking about a company worth over $100 billion. The money generated
Damn!
by Palworld.
I didn't know they had that. Damn, $100 billion!
Like a penny.
Great
so
googly
what's
moogly!
going on here? Nintendo on September 19th, 2024 had effectively signaled to the world that they only wanted a trial out of this. Yes, what Apple, Google, and other billion or even trillion-dollar companies feared the most. They were heading straight for the jugular here. And other than the fact that they
believe they can win.
Patents were made after the fact, after Palworld had released, showing us that they had very direct disdain towards the company. What a normal company in Nintendo's shoes would have done is do some sort of patent licensing agreement if they were really that pissed. They would just sit down with Pocket Pair, tell them, hey, listen, come on, we know that you were very heavily inspired by Pokemon, let's not be around the bush. We don't want to take this to trial, just give us a percentage of your sales and we'll call it a day. And most likely, Pocket Pair would have probably said yes, because they're also not interested in going to trial.
See, that's the thing. That's something you would do if you're a good businessman. If you want to do good business, that sounds like a good business deal. Hey, I'm the Don Juan. I came up with it. I know you got inspired. That's okay. Hey, some of your biggest haters love to copy your shit. So, hey, go ahead and give me my bread and let's bygones be bygones. This is business you do when you are actually evil. This is the business you create when you are mafioso. When you have the ability to do whatever you want for such a long time and you don't think anybody else has a chance to touch you. This is some crazy stuff. Let's continue.
Guys, from an interview with the CEO after the game had come out, he revealed that this company had 10 employees and hired 40 employees before releasing the game. This is a company that has 50 people. Sure, they made over $100 million in revenue, but they were going up against a $100 billion company that has a huge team of lawyers in every region of the world that specifically work closely with its developers, understanding game mechanics and knowing exactly how to sue and defend. And now if we reference...
Oh, by the way, Nintendo, if you ever watch this video, you know... I'm just the internet guy. Ha ha ha. You know, I get it. Your yacht is big. I don't have a yacht yet. Okay? Don't get me.
Back the Stanford Law School study that was specifically done in the US, we could definitely argue that these patents from Nintendo are very vague and probably won't make it to the end of the trial. But you see, that would only be a problem for Nintendo if they actually aimed to win or lose the lawsuit. They didn't. They know very well, more than anyone, that patent litigation is way too expensive in terms of money and time. So to them, this wasn't about money. This
They're
was
gonna
about
bleed
crushing
you.
Pocket Pair until
They're
there
gonna
was
bleed
nothing left.
you.
This was simply about sending a message.
Yeah.
Compete with us and you're dead.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for Pocket Pair, they would realize this actually very quickly after the lawsuit would begin.
They smoking on that Palworld pack.
Barely 3 weeks after understanding what the patents they're being sued for were, Pocket Pair released a new patch for Palworld.
Yeah,
It fixed
change
some
all
bug
that.
fixes,
Change all
added
that.
some features, but also removed a very integral part of gameplay. You
Change
could
it.
no longer use pal spheres to either capture or summon your pals. If you wanted to summon them, they would just simply appear next to you. And this, for many, heavily impacted gameplay because it was a very unpleasant way of calling them. And more recently, on May 8th,
Bro, they just trying to get rid of it as soon as possible, update it later so you just whistle and then they show up. Please, I don't want to have Nintendo sue, because can't you do that same thing in Legend of Zelda where you want to call the horse? Oh, brother, it's like, it's crazy what happens when somebody has the idea for something, but somebody else already had the idea, and then they have the ability to say, it was my idea, give me money. What the heck did we create? This world is weird, bro. I swear, we need a new Matrix.
2025, you could no longer
This
summon
shit
one
is
of your
broke.
pals when you're in midair. Instead, to not die from fall damage, you would have to equip a new item called the Glider. As a reminder, the lawsuit was presented on September 2024. It hadn't even
Genshin
been
Impact.
1 year, and Palworld was already forced to make changes as this lawsuit is still ongoing. Now, according to a Japanese patent attorney, he points out that these changes by Pocket Pair are not in any way an admission of guilt, adding that Pocket Pair is following the standard three-pronged defense against patent lawsuits, which is to deny infringement, argue that the patents are invalid, and avoid infringement through design changes. He also noted that Nintendo does not have the upper hand, as there seems to be a fierce back and forth with Nintendo pushing for patent infringement and Pocket Pair pushing for patent invalidity. So make no mistake, they are deep in the trenches fighting right
They
now.
fighting
and
for
when this
sure.
Glider update came out,
That's a
Pocket
good-
Pair would
that's
also
a
make
good
a
defense.
statement explaining to everyone that yes, these changes that were being introduced into the game were a direct result
Yes.
of these ongoing patent lawsuits.
And let people
They would then
know.
go on to say that these changes hurt them as much as they hurt the fans,
Absolutely.
apologizing to them. I think it was at
Absolutely.
this point that people truly realized, wow, this really isn't going to be easy at all.
And you know what's beautiful about it and crazy at the same time? It's like the way Pocket Pair is going about this is, it's like the only strategy they have is to play defensively and also like recognize that they are being attacked. They are a victim. So they said, yeah, we had to change it. And it's not because we're guilty. It's because we want to show the judge and the court and everybody that we're not trying to basically steal anything. We're not thieves. We just created a game that we really love, just like you guys, the fans, right? They're trying to play to the emotional heartstrings. 'Cause for sure, like, yeah, they made the game. They didn't have to. So obviously they cared about the project, right? So for sure, this is the best defense you can do, because at least you could probably have the court of public opinion, and that sometimes makes stuff change.
Because this whole thing was anything but straightforward. Nintendo wasn't just playing dirty, they had pretty much stooped lower than a company like Lodsys. On July 2025, so fairly recently, they rewrote a patent in Japan mid-case during the ongoing lawsuit
No
against
way.
Palworld. Nintendo was getting desperate. Its
No
flying
way.
patent wasn't really holding up as well as they wanted to against Palworld's defense. So in one of the first cases some lawyers have ever seen, they used some very weird language in the patent update, adding the term even when, making a lawyer say, I've been following patent litigation for 15 years and have seen many claims that were amended, but I've never seen even when or even if in a patent claim. It's bizarre. Nintendo is essentially using this language to try and complicate things and make this patent even more vague than it already is. This is because, as I said, their intention was to prolong this as much as possible, to drown Palworld in paperwork, hoping to bankrupt them pretty much and erase them from existence. But this dirty tactic was nothing more than them actually panicking. Pocket Pair was actually doing a pretty damn good job, coming up with a lot of examples that show that even before 2021, all of these patents were already used by prior games. So if Palworld can actually survive this lawsuit and see it till the end, even though it might take a very long time, they might not only end up
Countersuit.
winning, but make many of the patents Nintendo had filed to be invalid. Thing is though, you'd be naive if you thought that it was going to be that easy with Nintendo.
Not with this guy.
No, their legal team played dirty. And just as Palworld was starting to gain some sort of a fighting chance in Japan, Nintendo was aiming to create a war on two fronts. Ever since 2004, the US Patent Office has been absolutely swamped by a huge backlog. barely able to keep up, being understaffed. I mean, you already know the drill. This is just another government agency in a first world country in the 21st century. But due to this understaffing and the fact that they have so many applications to go through, there's historically been many people who criticize the patent office for being pretty inconsistent with their decisions on what is a valid patent and what isn't.
And that makes me wonder, like, what can AI do to help solve this? Because to have AI scan each patent and each creative idea, I'm interested to see what the AI would say about what's valid and what's not, man. That'd be very interesting to see.
This inconsistency would initially show itself in February 2025 when Nintendo was gearing for a US patent lawsuit against Palworld. They would present 23 patent claims, but 22 of them would be rejected, with the argument that they simply weren't inventive enough. They were used before already by other games. But when it comes to Nintendo, this isn't really enough to discourage them. They were not only planning to fight these rejections, they had more in store. That's just how much they hated Palworld. Nintendo's efforts in the US would finally bear fruits on September 2nd, 2025, when the United States Patent and Trademark Office would grant them a patent so vague and so unoriginal that it would absolutely shatter the gaming industry in shock.
Oh my gosh.
This patent was filed in 2023 and was approved in 2025. In a nutshell, this patent is about a sub-character, so like a Pokemon. The patent dictates that you must be able to summon the character. It specifies things like summoning it specifically to fight, even detailing things like sending the sub-character in a direction specifically to start an automatic battle. And no, you're not the only one here that thinks this is crazy. This is not only
I'm making sure, thank you.
Extremely vague, but it's been done multiple times before by other games in the past. By 2025, or hell, even when this was filed in 2023, this was in no way inventive. This wasn't some sort of breakthrough, right? No. This would cause many patent lawyers to see this in the US and say things like, this has been an embarrassing failure of the US patent system.
Yeah, no.
I mean, even the former Pokemon Company head lawyer said, I wish Nintendo and Pokemon good luck when the first other developer just entirely ignores this patent. Everyone was completely shocked at the fact that something like this could actually pass. And if someone wasn't convinced yet, if someone was a huge Nintendo fanboy that truly didn't see the problem, this was it. This was the point in which you would see that this definitely feels like a punishment specifically for Palworld. Because if Nintendo truly cared about this mechanic, then they would go ahead and sue Blizzard over their 2011 Battle Pets minigame. Yeah. Even back then when it came out, it was very clearly inspired by Pokemon. It was obvious to everyone. So at this point, it's obvious. This is a punishment against Pocket Pair. But as far as their patent goes, seeing that there's very clear past examples dating more than a decade ago, how the hell did it get approved anyway? Well, to really...
Bro, either nobody saw it or someone got paid off, bro. That's my bet.
Be able to explain to you what's going on right now, we need to briefly go back to what a patent actually is. As we saw earlier, the realistic approach to what a patent actually is a right to try to exclude by asserting the patent in court. We've already established that only 0.1% of all patents actually go to trial, so one could say that many of them are actually invalid. They've just never been contested in court.
Yeah.
And the US Patent Office is constantly swamped by a backlog. So with all these things combined, now let's think of the employee working at the US Patent Office. You see a software patent, and it technically ticks all the boxes needed to be approved. You have two choices. You either approve it, move on with your day, go back home, see your family, have dinner and sleep, or you can be a smartass and contest it, knowing that the company's gonna contest your decision immediately. This means that the nice lunches and dinners you were getting with Nintendo's lawyers that you've built a friendly relationship with would all disappear. And this also means you've just unlocked yourself more work. Why the hell would you do that to yourself?
Oh, brother, corruption. I love it and I hate it at the same time. Like, of course, yeah. The government's corrupt, bro. Like, of course.
You know what a patent actually means? It's the right to exclude others. And you know what? If it's a bogus patent, then hey, let them figure it out in court. Either way, it wouldn't be your fault. This is exactly why Nintendo was able to do what it's doing and why patent trolls exist to begin with. But if you thought this was bad, then wait till you see what Nintendo's doing at the same time. Yes, believe it or not, it does get more ridiculous. Nintendo has always hated mods, even though they're created by players and have no affiliation with the games themselves. They've always made it a point to target the game developers themselves as if they were the ones to make mods that infringe on their copyrights. Something completely unreasonable that has always pissed off people who valued creative freedom, especially in the modding community.
Bro, mods are life. Mods are the lifeblood of any video game. As soon as it comes out and Nowadays it's a live service, but when the live service ends, back in the day there's no live service. But if a game came out and it was amazing, you would find people that would mod it and add extra stuff to bring more life into the game. Mods are the lifeblood of gaming. It is through the community why the game survives. So to see that it gets attacked all the time is a damn shame, but I also understand some of them nude mods are crazy. Shout out to Skyrim.
You see, one of the very creative ways Palworld is pursuing Nintendo's patent claims is by showing that the things being presented in the patent were already done by people beforehand. This is the easiest way to invalidate a patent. One of those prior examples that Palworld is pushing is a mod called Pocket Souls for Dark Souls 3 that uses an extremely similar mechanic to their whole Pokeball patent. Even though it's not a standalone game and a mod, it's showing that someone already came up with this idea back in 2020, even though the parent lawsuit of the Pokeball mechanic was made in 2021. This technically goes against what a patent is. You're not the first one that came up with the idea.
There
Even
it
if you
is.
just so happen to be the first person to actually file a patent for it. It doesn't work that way.
Yep.
Well, what was Nintendo's argument here? Mods aren't real games.
And bullshit.
This is coming from the same company that has personally taken down mods for other games and its own games for copyright infringement. This is very clearly showing us that they have such a hate boner for Pocket Pair that its own lawyers are starting to self-destruct.
Dummies.
Now in Japan, they're in a catch-22 situation. They either admit that mods are actual games and invalidate their patent, or they don't, and they invalidate all the lawsuits of people who are making mods of their copyrighted material in other games.
Yeah. So which is it? Are you gonna have to let all these other Pokemon stuffs come to life because they're just mods? Or are you gonna keep your foot in your ass? Which is it?
It's a lose-lose situation. That's how clouded by hate they are right now in regards to Palworld. It's ridiculous. I mean, by this point, it doesn't take a genius to understand this is an injustice going on right before our very eyes.
Absolutely.
How can Nintendo keep getting away with this? And are you, the viewer, just meant to sit down in despair watching this all unfold without being able to do anything?
No. You can voice your opinion. You can talk about it. You could tweet them. You can go to the Reddit. You could send them emails. You can make videos. You can react to videos and talk about it. No. Everybody has a voice. We are the court of public opinion. All of us. We are part of the court. And I am one of the people that are saying, hey, yeah, man, Nintendo, man, you get your head out of your butt because what you're doing is not right. And if anybody else agrees, hit the like button and share it with a friend, bro. Raise the voice of the public opinion because our voices matter. You are the consumer. We are the consumer. They steal from us all the time. We need to get our get back, and we need to support Palworld because they are the ones giving people what they want. We have to stick up for the little guy, even if later on it turns out Palworld did a bunch of crazy stuff. Brother, we can solve that bridge when we get there. Till then, there's a big bad guy we gotta fight, and that big bad guy has an Italian plumber with a big red M on his head.
Well, no, you can do something, and believe me, people have tried. In anticipation of the Nintendo Switch 2 console coming out, many people have vowed to boycott over Nintendo's anti-consumer practices.
Yeah, you should have when they raised the price of games.
Since they essentially want to monopolize anything that has to do with capturing cute creatures in a game. Well, the console released, and it ended up selling over 3.5 million units worldwide in its first 4 days, becoming the fastest selling Nintendo hardware ever globally.
Nice job, everybody. Round of applause. Hey, man, y'all really did it. Hey, let's go.
Yeah, that boycott failed spectacularly.
For sure.
And this happened in the middle of their Palworld lawsuit. It seemed like Nintendo was hated worldwide over its anti-consumer practices, but at the same time, nothing could stop them from selling pretty much anything. But
No. They're not hated worldwide. They are hated on the internet. And on the internet worldwide. That doesn't stop every other person that doesn't know about any of this because one Palworld is a Steam game. Yeah, it had a lot of people play it. That doesn't mean everybody out here that's buying a Nintendo knows anything about Steam games or Palworld's existence. So, yeah, no, it only on the internet. It's not going to affect everybody. Plus, there's other companies out here, right? They have, like, gaming setups and stuff. They all had to buy the Switch 2 as well. They had to buy multiple copies of the Switch 2 to keep their business going. Like, nah, bro, it's just the internet.
But hold on, before you fall back into utter despair, I have some good news. Recently, we've come to find that the invincible Nintendo actually has a very big weakness. That's right, they have their own version of kryptonite. The one thing that scares them and can take them down. And the way we found this out recently was in one of the most unexpected ways
Well, let me know. What is it? What was
it? On September 23rd, 2025, the
Homeland
Security of the United States of America would post a video compilation of illegal immigrants, or as they like to call them, illegal aliens being arrested. The caption was, "Gotta catch 'em all." The music playing was the music from the Pokemon show, and if that wasn't enough, in between cuts of people being arrested, they would start showing footage from the anime itself.
This is
and to
real?
really drive the point home,
No
they also created
way.
literal Pokemon cards of some of.
Bro, I need to make sure this is real fucking life right now. This is real life? This is real life? This is real life? This? Okay.
The people being arrested, giving them all 1 HP, showing the word illegal on the top left, and their description would be the
ICE San Antonio arrested Lorenzo Menendez Gonzalez, a 68-year-old violent criminal alien from Cuba, on September 19th. Well, what did he do? His weakness is ice. That's crazy.
Crime that
this
is
real.
The official Customs and Border Protection account of the United States would also reply to this post with a gif of Pikachu saying, "Border Patrol's newest recruit." Now look, this was absolutely unprecedented.
This is real!
The government has ever so openly infringed on copyright like this on such a massive scale. But there we had it, right in front of our eyes. The reactions of—
Bro, forget infringe on copyright, bro. They are literally doing the equivalent of the Harlem Shake, and they're the U.S. government.
Of course, just like anything political in the United States, were mixed. Some people liked it, others not so much.
Well,
and all of a sudden,
I for one think it's very distasteful, but I also understand it's probably really fun.
You had a sizable amount of people that wanted Pokemon to sue the Department of Homeland Security, and I mean the US government, for copyright infringement. This was such
We will go back to war with Japan if this was to happen.
an easy lawsuit, guys. I mean, come on. And knowing how trigger happy Nintendo's lawyers were, I mean, come on, this was bound to happen any time now, right?
No, they were not.
People were brought to believe that this is what was going to happen. Because on the next day, the Pokemon Company International would make a statement saying no, they did not give the US Department of Homeland Security any permission to use any of its copyrights in that video. But on that same day, we'd also get another piece of news that would disappoint the fans that wanted Nintendo to sue the US government.
Yeah, good luck,
brother. The former
brother.
legal chief of Pokemon would reveal this in an interview, saying, "Even if I was still at the company, I wouldn't touch this, and I'm the most trigger-happy chief legal officer I've ever met."
Bro said, "I will not mess with the U.S. government." Respectable, bro. You're Nintendo. That's Trump. Yeah, I see. You're not touching that one.
Specifically, he would give two reasons. The first one is, many of the executives of the Pokemon Company in the US are on green cards. If they were to sue the US government, they would probably lose their green cards. But the second reason he gave us was a bombshell, something that I don't think he understood how big of a deal it was. He'd say, think of how little you see the Pokemon Company International's name in the press. They are insanely publicity shy and prefer to let the brand be the brand.
For sure.
This statement maybe wouldn't strike you as such a big deal. In reality, though, this is him
just want a good
revealing Nintendo's kryptonite.
Yeah,
you see,
their image.
Nintendo takes on all the lawsuits by themselves. They never evolve the Pokemon Company International if they don't have to. It's
they're
because
saving
they're
face.
used to being hated. They know it doesn't affect their business. They just frankly don't care.
Nintendo's used to being hated is crazy.
On the other hand, though, think about it. How many times have you seen the Pokemon Company International directly and personally involved in lawsuits?
Never, ever.
The reason why their statement about Palworld was so exceedingly rare is because this never happens. They only did it in an effort to legitimize the lawsuit that would eventually come from Nintendo.
Yep.
But overall, they care deeply about their reputation.
Of course, bro, like, a lot of people, they don't know this, but if you come to Asia, they have a very big shame culture. They have a very big you stay inside the bubble culture. If you ever go to Japan, you will see that Japan is one of the safest places in the world because every single person is watching you to make sure you don't do anything that brings shame to the culture. That's it. They are making sure that every single person is doing the right thing by the homogenous standard. So yeah, they're gonna be saving face a lot. If Pikachu ever gets any type of dirty face, so much shame is gonna happen to where people will lose their lives. And I'm not saying that as a joke, and I wouldn't honestly wish that to happen, but that would definitely be the case. They take saving face very seriously as someone that's been living in Asia for almost half a decade now.
This is something that people like Andrew from the channel Legal Mindset have sought to take full advantage of, making sure to rile up social media criticism of the Pokemon Company International, not just in English, but also using Japanese hashtags. He, as well as many other people, believe that if Pokemon Company International receives enough backlash on social media, more specifically, while being given the impression that they're becoming unpopular in Japan, then Nintendo will finally back off from Palworld and stop trying to make them some sort of example while trying to monopolize an entire genre of games.
That's an interesting risk. You guys are playing a very interesting game because this can go left, right? Say you get enough people to actually make it even trending that the Pokemon Company is doing something to have a bad face. So they might definitely change that for Nintendo, for sure. But they're gonna want to get their get back. They're definitely want to get their get back. And whoever was leading the charge to dirty the face of the Pokemon Company, they're gonna get some lawyers showed up to their doorstep, for sure, for sure.
The biggest threat here is Nintendo somehow succeeding in its goals, either by bankrupting Palworld or by somehow using its huge influence in Japan to win the lawsuit.
Bro, 8.2 million followers, bro.
If that's the case, it'll encourage other big video game companies to not fear litigation of patents anymore and go after smaller developers that threaten their money, killing all competition and monopolizing literal game genres. So if you're actually outraged by what's going on, then hey, this might be a solution. Legally speaking, I have nothing to do with this, all right?
Me neither.
So yeah, I wish Palworld the best. I hope Nintendo doesn't succeed
neither.
in anything
I'm just letting you guys know, as the consumers, you should vote with your wallet.
Doing. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it helped explain the situation a bit more clearly to you. And make sure to check out
Hold on. Cottontail VA inflation stream with 13-year-old me's idol. What does that even mean?
For watching this video. I hope it helped explain the situation a bit more clearly to you. And make sure to check out the new drop that just came out on October 10th with Gamersubs that looks fantastic and will probably sell out in under 48 hours. Use the code Mujin to get 10% off.
Oh, y'all alien horny nowadays, I see.
Your total order. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.
3 tits instead of 2?
Probably about the 1,000 page document that Cinder dropped, but I'm not 100% sure yet. Love you so much. Mwah.
Later, bro. Pikachu used fuck you give me money is very efficient. Sheesh. Insane. But at the same time, I am not surprised. Look, I'll be the first to let you guys know that the gaming is one thing. This Nintendo Pokemon suit is another. And overall, I hope that Nintendo takes the L on this. I hope publicly they get some type of embarrassment. I would love to see people stand up for their rights because they're legitimately stopping everybody else from getting good games. If you only care about Pokemon and Nintendo, stop being so selfish. There are more games out here you could be enjoying. There's more games you could have fun with. I'm saying stop being selfish to yourself, bro. Play Mass Effect. Play something else, bro. Please. There are better things to do. There are more things to do. And I know Nintendo is one of those places, one of those companies. As somebody that's a Sonic fan, not a fanboy, I know what it's like to see something you grew up playing, and maybe you have a kid now and your kid's playing it and you want to have this thing for your like bond. Brother, please do it with something else, please, because Nintendo is legitimately making video games worse. Same thing with the people that made the Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War. Now we can't have that system where the goblins come in and they remember who you were, and if they killed you, they start talking trash. Bro, that system is amazing, but it's only locked to 2 games. Because they had freaking patents and they have copyrights and trademarks, bro. I've always said copyright has killed creativity. Nobody can come up with anything because somebody else thinks they have the idea. I would rather see 20 different Pokemon games and 3 of them be good than see only 1 Pokemon game and its ass. And when I say these other Pokemon games, I mean by other people that are creating the games. Let the consumer decide what's good and what's not, instead of pigeonholing everybody to stick with one thing. You guys should have the ability to choose. You should be able to go to someone else whenever one company is messing up, because competition is the only thing that fuels creativity and creates a better world for consumers. If you want to have better video games, better movies, better politicians, better anything, you need to have competition. You need to have somebody say, I have something better and I'm willing to give you better. Because more people's gonna go to that guy than this guy. This guy doesn't care about you. But if he's the only one, of course, he doesn't care about you, but you can't go nowhere else. You're a slave, bro. You're their pet. You do what they say. They say roll over. You roll over. They say jump. You say how high. Instead, you should go to this person that actually cares about you. Don't be traumatically bound to this guy. Come on, everybody. I know y'all can do it. But the cynic in me is saying a lot of y'all can't. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of y'all couldn't. But if you're still here enjoying this video, man, I appreciate you a lot, man. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, share it with a friend. Why not? It's your boy KhunShawn, man. I'm just keeping it real with you. I'm keeping it 100 because I'm tired of all these fake ass everything. Everything out here is fake, scripted. Everything's full of hypocrisy, and I'm tired of this shit, man. So we're gonna be talking about it, and we're gonna be standing on it. And then they're gonna sue my black ass, and then I'm gonna ask for some help, bro. And I hope somebody got my back. So yeah, let's go ahead and continue, and hopefully we can lead the change that we want to see. I want to see more and better video games. I want to see more and creative ideas in the world. I want to see a world full of art and something new. But we can't do that when we keep letting these greedy people stay greedy and stay at the top and kick the ladder down every time somebody's trying to climb up with a new idea. Nobody else can come up with an original idea besides yourself. So please, nurture and grow, become better. And hopefully we can solve this mess that we all live in this matrix, because some of the stuff I saw in this video I can't even believe is real. The ICE agents putting people on Pokemon cards, didn't expect that to ever be a thing, and there it is. It's your boy KhunShawn, man. Please think about becoming a member, get early access to all videos. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.